What if I told you, it's not your English that's the problem, it's the moment your phone rings?
That's true. The second I see an English call, I panic.
And suddenly, all the English you know disappears.
Exactly. I can understand English, but I can't speak on calls.
And that's the mistake. You think you need better English, but actually, you need a better system.
A system?
Yes. Because phone calls are different. No face, no expressions, just your voice. And if you don't know how to control it, you lose confidence instantly.
That's exactly what happens to me.
But here's the good news, you don't need perfect grammar, big vocabulary, or years of study.
Then what do I need?
Just a few simple sentences, used the right way, at the right moment.
That sounds much easier.
It is. And today, we're going to fix this step by step.
So by the end of this, I'll be able to speak confidently on calls.
Not just confidently, naturally.
All right. I'm ready.
Good. Because after this, you won't fear phone calls anymore. Have you noticed something strange? The moment your phone rings, and you know it's an English call, your confidence disappears.
Yes. It's like my brain just freezes. I know English, but I can't use it.
Exactly. And here's the truth most people don't realize, the first few seconds of a phone call decide everything.
Everything.
Yes. Your confidence, your control, even how the other person treats you. If you sound unsure at the beginning, the whole conversation becomes difficult.
That makes sense. I usually start with hello, and then I hesitate.
And that hesitation sends a message. It tells the other person, I'm not confident. That's why they may speak faster, or take control of the conversation.
So the problem is not my English, it's how I start.
Exactly. Most learners focus on vocabulary, grammar, big sentences, but they ignore the opening line.
So what should I say instead?
You need a strong, clear, simple opening that you can say without thinking. Something that comes out naturally, even if you're nervous.
Like a habit.
Yes. Because on a phone call, you don't have time to think. You need a ready-made sentence.
Okay, give me something practical.
Instead of saying, hello, who is this? Say, hello, this is Sarah speaking.
That already sounds more confident.
Because it is. It shows you are in control. Your voice becomes stable. Your mind becomes calm.
But what if it's a work call?
Then you upgrade it slightly. Hello, this is Sarah speaking. How can I help you?
That sounds professional.
And powerful. You're not waiting, you're leading the conversation.
I like that. It feels like I'm ready.
That's the goal. Confidence is not magic. It's preparation.
But sometimes I still feel nervous, even if I know what to say.
That's normal. But here's the trick, don't fight the nervousness. Speak anyway.
Even if my voice is not perfect.
Yes. Because confidence doesn't come before speaking. It comes after you start.
So the first sentence is like a key.
Exactly. It unlocks the rest of the conversation.
And if I start strong, the rest becomes easier.
Always. When you begin clearly, your brain relaxes. You stop overthinking. You start communicating.
I think I understand now. I don't need perfect English. I need a strong start.
That's it. Master your first sentence, and you'll change the entire call.
Okay, let me try. Hello, this is Sara speaking. How can I help you?
That's it. Simple. Clear. Confident.
Wow, that actually feels different.
Because now you're not reacting to the call, you're controlling it.
I wish I learned this earlier.
Most people don't. They try to fix everything, instead of fixing the beginning.
From now on, I'll focus on this.
Good. Because one strong sentence can change everything. Now let's talk about the moment that scares people the most, when you don't understand what the other person says.
That's the worst part. I hear something, but my brain just says, I didn't get it.
And then what do you usually say?
Honestly, I say what, or I just stay silent.
And that's exactly where the problem begins.
Why? It's natural, right?
It feels natural, but it sounds weak and unprofessional. It breaks the flow of the conversation.
So what should I say instead?
You need to replace panic with control. Instead of reacting emotionally, respond clearly.
Okay, give me something I can actually use.
Say, sorry, could you repeat that, please?
That sounds much better.
Or even simpler, sorry, I didn't catch that.
I like that. It feels natural.
Because it is. Native speakers use this all the time. Not understanding is normal.
Really? I thought only learners struggle with this.
No. Even fluent speakers ask for repetition. The difference is, they don't panic.
So the problem is not understanding, it's how I react to it.
Exactly. The moment you panic, your mind shuts down even more.
That's true. I start overthinking and then I understand even less.
So here's the rule, stay calm and ask clearly.
But what if they speak too fast?
Then say, could you speak a little slower, please?
That feels polite, not awkward.
Because you're taking control again. You're guiding the conversation.
And what if I still don't understand after that?
Then break it down. Ask specific questions. Do you mean today or tomorrow? Did you say 15 or 50?
Oh, that's smart. Instead of asking them to repeat everything.
Exactly. You make it easier for both of you.
I think my biggest mistake was trying to understand everything perfectly.
That's a common mistake. You don't need 100% understanding. You need enough to continue.
So it's okay to ask again.
Not just okay, it's professional.
That changes everything. I always felt embarrassed.
Don't be. Asking clearly shows confidence, not weakness.
Let me try. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat it?
Perfect. Calm, clear, confident.
I feel less pressure already.
Because now you have control. You're not stuck anymore.
So the goal is not to understand everything instantly, but to keep the conversation moving.
Exactly. Keep it flowing, and your confidence will grow with every call.
I'm starting to see the difference now.
Good. Because once you remove the fear of not understanding, phone English becomes much easier. Now let's talk about another moment where people lose confidence, when they need time to think.
Yes. That's me. Someone asks me something, and I know the answer, but I can't say it immediately.
And in that silence, panic starts.
Exactly. I feel like I must answer fast, or I'll look weak.
That pressure is the real problem. Not your English.
So what should I do in that moment?
You don't rush. You control the time.
Control the time.
Yes. Instead of staying silent or saying, you use a simple sentence to create space.
Like what?
Just a moment, please.
That's it.
That's it. Short, clear, powerful.
But will that sound natural?
Not only natural, it sounds professional. It tells the other person, I'm thinking. Give me a second.
That feels much better than silence.
Exactly. Silence creates tension. But a clear sentence creates control.
What if it's a work call and I need to check something?
Then say, let me check that for you.
That sounds very confident.
Because now you're not reacting, you're managing the conversation.
I like that. It feels like I'm leading, not following.
That's the shift. Most learners try to answer quickly, but confident speakers take their time.
So speaking fast is not the goal.
No. Speaking clearly is the goal.
That changes everything. I always thought speed means fluency.
No. Control means fluency.
But what if I need more time than just a moment?
Then extend it politely. Just a moment, please. I'll check and get back to you.
That gives me space without pressure.
Exactly. And the other person will wait, because you communicated clearly.
I think my mistake was staying silent while thinking.
Yes. And silence makes the other person uncomfortable.
So instead of silence, I speak a small sentence.
Right. That small sentence protects your confidence.
Let me try. Just a moment, please, let me check that for you.
Perfect. Calm, controlled, professional.
Wow, that feels different. I don't feel rushed anymore.
Because now you've removed pressure. You gave yourself permission to think.
I wish I knew this before. I always felt stuck in those moments.
Most people do. They think fluency means instant answers.
But now I understand, fluency means managing the conversation.
Exactly. When you control the time, you control the call.
I'm starting to feel more confident with every step.
And this is just the beginning. Now let's talk about something subtle but extremely powerful. This is where conversations either stay smooth or completely break.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about understanding, and more importantly, confirming what you understood.
Confirming. You mean repeating what the other person said?
Yes, but in a smart way. Not just repeating, but checking clearly.
I don't usually do that. I just listen and continue.
And that's where mistakes happen. You think you understood, but maybe you missed something small.
That's true. Sometimes later I realize I understood it wrong.
Exactly. And on a phone call, you don't have facial expressions or gestures to help you. So even a small misunderstanding can become a big problem.
So how do I avoid that?
You confirm. You take 1 extra second to make sure everything is clear.
But won't that sound repetitive or annoying?
No. It sounds professional. It shows that you are careful and serious about the conversation.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's say someone tells you the meeting is at 3 p.m. Instead of just saying, okay, you say, so the meeting is at 3 p.m., right?
That feels simple, but strong.
Exactly. You're not guessing anymore. You're making sure.
What if it's something more detailed?
Then you confirm the key part. For example, you'd like me to send the report today, correct?
That sounds very clear.
Because clarity builds confidence. Not just for you, but for the other person too.
I never thought about that. I always felt like asking again means I didn't understand.
No. Asking again means you care about getting it right.
That's a big difference.
And here's something important, people trust you more when you confirm.
Really?
Yes. Because you're reducing mistakes. You're showing responsibility.
I guess it's better to confirm once than to fix a mistake later.
Exactly. One small sentence can save a big problem.
But what if I already feel unsure while they are speaking?
Then don't wait. Confirm immediately.
In the middle of the conversation.
Yes. For example, just to confirm, you said the deadline is Friday.
That sounds natural.
Because you're keeping the conversation clear step by step.
I think I understand now. It's not about pretending to understand everything, it's about making sure I do.
Exactly. And that removes pressure from your mind.
How?
Because you're no longer guessing. You're checking. And when you check, you feel more in control.
That's true. Guessing always makes me nervous.
And nervousness leads to more mistakes.
So confirming actually makes me calmer.
Yes. It slows things down in a good way.
I like that. It feels safe.
That's the goal. Confidence doesn't come from speed, it comes from clarity.
Let me try a full example. So you mean the call is scheduled for tomorrow morning, right?
Perfect. That's exactly how you do it.
And if I'm wrong, they will correct me.
Yes. And that's a good thing. Better now than later.
I think I've been afraid of asking too much.
Most learners are. They think asking questions shows weakness.
But actually, it shows control.
Exactly. You are guiding the conversation, not just following it.
This is powerful. It's such a small change, but it feels big.
Because small habits create big results.
From now on, I'll always confirm important details.
Good. Because when you confirm, you don't just understand the conversation, you own it.
And that's real confidence.
Exactly. Now we're moving into something that most people completely ignore, but it changes everything on a phone call.
What is it?
Your tone. Not your grammar. Not your vocabulary. Your tone.
My tone. But I'm just speaking. How can tone make such a big difference?
Because on a phone call, your voice is everything. The other person can't see your face, your expressions, your body language, they only hear your tone.
So even if my English is correct, I can still sound wrong.
Exactly. You can use perfect words, but if your tone sounds cold, unsure, or uninterested, the conversation feels uncomfortable.
That explains a lot. Sometimes I feel like people are not connecting with me, even when I say the right things.
That's because connection is not built with words, it's built with energy in your voice.
So how do I fix that?
You don't try to sound perfect. You try to sound human. Friendly. Open.
But how do I do that in English?
You add small, natural expressions that make your voice feel alive.
Like what?
Simple things. When someone asks you for something, instead of just saying, okay, you say, sure.
That already feels more natural.
Or instead of saying yes, you say, of course.
That sounds warmer.
Exactly. These small changes make a big difference in how you are perceived.
I think I usually sound very direct. Maybe even a little cold.
And that's common. Many learners focus so much on being correct that they forget to be friendly.
So I need to balance both.
Yes. Clear and friendly.
What about when someone asks for help?
Instead of saying, I will do it, say, no problem, I'll take care of that.
That sounds much better.
Because now you're not just giving information, you're creating comfort.
Comfort.
Yes. When your tone is friendly, the other person relaxes. And when they relax, the conversation becomes easier for you too.
I never thought of it like that.
Most people don't. They think communication is about speaking, but it's actually about how the other person feels when you speak.
So my goal is not just to talk, but to make the other person feel comfortable.
Exactly. That's real communication.
But what if I'm nervous? My voice becomes stiff.
That's normal. But here's the trick, don't try to remove nervousness. Just add friendliness.
Add friendliness.
Yes. Even if you're nervous, say something like, sure or, of course, with a slight smile in your voice.
Smile in my voice.
Yes. When you smile while speaking, your tone automatically becomes warmer.
Even if the other person can't see me.
They can hear it. Your voice changes.
That's interesting.
Try it. Say, okay, normally.
Okay.
Now say, okay, with a smile.
Okay.
Feel the difference.
Yes, it sounds softer, more friendly.
Exactly. That's the power of tone.
I think I've been focusing too much on words, and ignoring how I sound.
And that's why conversations feel harder than they should.
So tone can actually make my English sound better, even if my vocabulary is simple.
Absolutely. Simple words with the right tone sound more fluent than complex words with a flat tone.
That's a big mindset shift.
And here's another important thing: use small reaction words.
What do you mean?
When someone is speaking, don't stay silent. Show that you're listening.
Like saying or I see.
Exactly. Or, right. Got it. Okay.
That makes the conversation feel active.
Yes. It shows engagement.
I usually stay quiet while listening. Maybe that feels awkward to the other person.
It does. Silence can feel like you're not interested or not understanding.
So small reactions keep the flow alive.
Exactly. They make the conversation natural.
What about when I agree with someone?
Don't just say yes. Say, yes, that makes sense.
That sounds more complete.
Because you're adding meaning, not just responding.
And if I don't fully agree?
Stay polite. Say, I understand, but I think, instead of directly saying no.
That feels more respectful.
And respect is a big part of tone.
This is deeper than I expected.
Because communication is deeper than grammar.
I'm starting to see that. It's not just what I say, it's how I say it.
Exactly. And once you improve your tone, everything becomes smoother.
Even difficult conversations.
Especially difficult conversations.
I feel like this will change how people respond to me.
It will. Because people respond more to your tone than your words.
Let me try a full example. Sure, no problem. I'll take care of that. Just a moment, please.
Perfect. That sounds natural, friendly, and confident.
And it didn't require difficult vocabulary.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it.
I think this is one of the most important lessons so far.
It is. Because once your tone improves, your English feels alive.
Alive. I like that.
And when your English feels alive, people enjoy talking to you.
That's what I want.
Then focus on tone. Not perfection.
From now on, I'll pay attention to how I sound, not just what I say.
Good. Because when your tone changes, your entire communication changes.
And that's real confidence.
Exactly. Now we're going to talk about something that most people completely overlook, but it's the moment that people remember the most.
What is it?
How you end the call.
Really? I thought the beginning was the most important.
The beginning creates the first impression, but the ending creates the final memory.
Final memory.
Yes. After the call ends, what stays in the other person's mind is how you finish the conversation.
I never thought about that. I usually just say okay, bye quickly.
And that's exactly what most people do. They rush the ending and lose the chance to leave a strong impression.
So how should I end a call properly?
First, don't end suddenly. Slow down the ending.
Slow down.
Yes. You guide the conversation to a natural close.
How do I do that?
You signal that the conversation is coming to an end. For example, all right, I think that's everything.
That sounds smooth.
Or, so we're all set.
That feels complete.
Exactly. You're not cutting the conversation, you're closing it.
I like that. It feels more professional.
Then you add appreciation.
Appreciation.
Yes. Something simple like, thank you for your time.
That sounds polite.
Or, thanks for calling.
That feels friendly.
Because now you're ending with respect.
And after that?
Then you add a positive closing line.
Like bye.
Better than that. Say, have a great day. Take care. Talk to you soon.
That sounds much warmer.
Exactly. You're leaving the conversation on a positive note.
I think I usually skip this part. I just end quickly.
And that makes the ending feel cold or rushed.
So the ending should feel calm and complete.
Yes. Think of it like finishing a story. You don't just stop, you close it properly.
That's a nice way to think about it.
And here's something important: don't sound like you're trying to escape the call.
Escape.
Yes. Sometimes people speak faster at the end because they want to finish quickly.
That's me. I speed up because I feel relieved it's ending.
And that changes your tone. It sounds like you're in a hurry or not interested.
I didn't realize that.
So keep your tone steady until the last word.
That takes control.
Exactly. Confidence is staying calm from start to finish.
What if it's a business call?
Then your ending becomes even more important.
Why?
Because it reflects professionalism. For example, thank you for your time. I'll follow up with the details.
That sounds very professional.
Because you're not just ending, you're confirming the next step.
So I should also mention what happens next.
Yes, if needed. It shows clarity and responsibility.
That makes sense. It avoids confusion later.
Exactly. A strong ending removes doubt.
What about casual calls?
Keep it simple but warm. All right, talk to you later. Take care.
That feels natural.
Because you're matching the tone of the conversation.
I think I understand now. Ending is not just saying goodbye, it's leaving a feeling.
Exactly. A feeling of clarity, respect, and positivity.
Let me try a full ending. All right, I think that's everything. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.
Perfect. That's calm, complete, and confident.
It feels much better than just saying okay, bye.
Because now you sound like someone who knows how to communicate.
I feel like this small change can make a big difference.
It will. People remember how you make them feel, especially at the end.
So if I end well, they'll remember me positively.
Exactly. And that builds trust over time.
Trust, that's powerful.
And it starts with simple sentences.
I never thought ending a call could be this important.
Most people don't. That's why most people sound average.
But now I can do it differently.
Yes. You can stand out.
From now on, I won't rush the ending.
Good. Because when you end with confidence, you complete the conversation the right way.
And that's what people remember.
Exactly. Now we've reached the most important part, the part that decides whether all of this actually works for you, or stays just an idea.
You mean practice?
Yes. But not just practice, the right kind of practice.
I think this is where most people fail. They learn, but they don't improve.
Exactly. Because they practice in a way that feels safe, not in a way that builds real skill.
What do you mean by safe?
They listen, they read, they understand, but they don't speak.
That's true. I've spent hours listening to English, but when it's time to speak, I struggle.
Because listening builds understanding, but speaking builds ability.
So if I want to speak better on calls, I have to actually speak.
Yes. And not just randomly, you need structured, intentional practice.
Okay, tell me exactly what to do.
First, stop practicing silently in your head.
I do that a lot. I imagine conversations, but I don't say them out loud.
And that's why your brain understands English, but your mouth isn't trained to use it.
So I need to speak out loud, even when I'm alone.
Especially when you're alone. That's where real progress begins.
But what should I say?
You simulate real phone calls.
Simulate.
Yes. You create the situation, and you speak as if it's real.
Can you give me an example?
Imagine your phone rings. You answer, "Hello, this is Sarah speaking. How can I help you?"
Then I continue the conversation.
Exactly. You play both roles if you have to.
That feels a little strange.
It might feel strange, but it works.
Why?
Because your brain doesn't just need knowledge, it needs repetition under pressure.
Pressure.
Yes. When you speak out loud, even alone, your brain starts building real-time responsibility.
So it prepares me for real calls.
Exactly. You're training your reactions, not just your knowledge.
I think I've been avoiding this because it feels uncomfortable.
That's the point. Growth always feels uncomfortable at first.
So discomfort means I'm improving.
Yes. If it feels easy, you're not growing.
That's powerful.
Now here's the next step: practice specific situations.
What kind of situations?
Real ones. Work calls, customer service calls, casual calls.
So I should practice different types of conversations.
Yes. For example, practice asking for information. Hi, I'm calling to ask about.
Or responding to a question.
Exactly. The more situations you practice, the more prepared you become.
This makes sense. Instead of random practice, it's focused.
And focus creates results.
What about mistakes? I make a lot of mistakes when I speak.
Good. That means you're practicing correctly.
Really?
Yes. Mistakes are part of speaking. If you're not making mistakes, you're not pushing yourself.
That changes how I see it.
Stop trying to avoid mistakes. Start using them to improve.
But sometimes I feel embarrassed, even when I'm alone.
That's because you're judging yourself.
So I should stop judging.
Yes. Replace judgment with action.
Just keep speaking.
Exactly. Speak, adjust, repeat.
How often should I practice?
Every day. Even 10 minutes is enough, if it's real speaking.
That sounds manageable.
Consistency is more important than duration.
I think I used to wait for long study sessions, and then I didn't do anything.
That's common. But progress comes from small daily actions.
So 10 minutes of real speaking is better than hours of just listening.
Always.
What about recording myself?
That's a powerful tool.
How?
Record your practice calls. Then listen.
I feel nervous just thinking about that.
Good. That means it will help you.
What should I listen for?
Clarity, tone, hesitation.
So I become aware of my speaking.
Exactly. Awareness leads to improvement.
And then I fix it next time.
Yes. That's how you grow faster.
This feels like a complete system.
It is. Speak daily, practice real situations, accept mistakes, review yourself.
I wish I had followed this earlier.
Most people don't. They stay in passive learning for years.
But now I understand why they don't improve.
Exactly. They prepare, but they never perform.
And speaking is performance.
Yes. And like any performance, it improves with practice.
Let me say it clearly. If I want to speak confidently on calls, I must practice speaking out loud every day.
Perfect. That's the truth.
No shortcuts.
No shortcuts. Just the right method.
I feel different now. Not just motivated, but clear.
Clarity is more powerful than motivation.
From today, I'll practice like this.
Good. Because the moment you start speaking daily, your confidence will start growing.
And one day, answering a call in English will feel normal.
Not just normal, easy.
That's the goal.
And now you know exactly how to reach it.
You know what? This feels different now. Phone calls don't feel scary anymore.
Because now you have control. Not perfect English, but the right sentences at the right time.
I think that was my biggest mistake, waiting to feel ready.
And now you know, you don't wait to be confident. You speak, and confidence comes.
So the next time my phone rings, I won't hesitate.
You'll answer clearly, calmly, and confidently.
And even if I make mistakes, I'll keep going.
That's how real progress happens.
If you're listening right now, don't just understand this, use it.
Practice these sentences. Speak out loud. Turn knowledge into action.
Because your English won't improve by watching.
It improves when you start speaking.
And maybe, your next call could change everything.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Keep speaking.
Keep growing. Both, goodbye.